Holy Pentecost, the Consolata missionaries of the Ivory Coast and the Biblical Apostolate of the Diocese of Senigallia present the word of life that Father Matteo Pettinari prepared for one Sunday each month. It is a Gospel reading with a meditation and reflection in the style of Lectio Divina. Starting this month, we would like to offer it in two formats so that it can be read or listened to in 5 different languages. Enjoy the reading and listening in communion with the entire Church throughout the Word. John 20:19-23, New International Version. Jesus appears to his disciples. On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together with the doors locked for fear of the Jewish leaders, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." After he said this, he showed them his hands and side. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. Again Jesus said, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you." And with that, he breathed on them and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive anyone's sins, their sins are forgiven. If you do not forgive them, they are not forgiven." May 2023. The disciples rejoiced to see the Lord. John 20:20. Lectio. What the Word itself says. The 50 days of Easter culminate in the solemnity of Pentecost, which is its fulfillment. After 7 weeks, 7 times 7, a week of weeks, 49 days after Passover, 50 if we count the day of Pesach, this solemnity in Israel celebrated the Feast of the Harvest, the day of the first fruits, and was initially connected to the harvest season, a time of joy. This joy was then linked to the gift of the Torah, to the gift of God's revelation on Mount Sinai, a God who gives himself and reveals himself in his word, in his law. It is precisely on the feast of Pentecost that the Spirit descends, the principle and source of the new life of the risen one, the new law of the redeemed, of the people of Easter. Unlike Luke, who precisely in the Acts makes us witness the descent of the Spirit right into the heart of this feast, John helps us to penetrate the mystery of unity between Easter and Pentecost. An Easter that includes the Passion and the Cross, to lead to victory over death and to the gift of the Spirit. Jesus gives up the Spirit on the cross, and on the evening of that day, the first of the week, breathed and said to them, "Receive the Holy Spirit." John invites us to immerse ourselves in the mystery of Christ, the crucified and the risen one, the living one. He is the giver of the Spirit, the source of the gift. He whom God has sent speaks the words of God. Without measure, he gives the Spirit. We are on the first day of the week, soon called by the first Christians the Lord's Day, the day on which the community will begin to gather to break bread, to remember the risen one, to receive within history the gift of his light, which is his life, given for the life of the world. Henceforth, every first day of the week, a new lifestyle, his own, will be celebrated in him, and his life will become ours. On that first day, as at the beginning of creation, darkness will give birth to light, and life will shine on the face of the risen one and on the faces of those who will receive his breath, his Spirit. Every first day of the week, a renewed and Paschal fraternity will be celebrated. The community will experience that its spheres are inhabited by the one who has decided to be in the midst to the disciples, giving them a new peace, a distinct and different peace which is capable of penetrating fear and transforming it into missionary courage and boldness. A peace that flows from the wounds of the body of the crucified one, now become embrasure from which the light of joy flows. And the disciples rejoiced to see the Lord. The power of Easter is extraordinary. The energies of the resurrection are extremely fruitful. They penetrate the most secret and hidden plots of history and hearts. Jesus, on the evening of that first day, sneaked into that sealed room behind closed doors, where the disciples were for fear of the Jews. And he keeps doing it. The living one is stronger than all our deaths. He enters the tombs of our anxieties and our panic, and the Holy Spirit breathes into us. Jesus comes, stands in the midst and speaks, and he insists on speaking. But between one word and another, it shows he offers his body pierced by love, crucified for love, and now living for love. Because love does not die, it is stronger than death. And if the body allows itself to be penetrated by love, it too enters into the life that does not die. It too is absorbed by life. Seeing the victory of love over the body of the crucified one makes joy explode. Because then you can stop fearing death and all its allies, death and all those who can inflict it. The risen one definitely gives us the keys of death and hell, and opens before us a door which no one can close. In the power of the Spirit of the risen one, received as a gift, it is possible to continue his mission, the one entrusted to him by the Father, and which becomes ours, to free men from the slavery of evil and sin, to free men from the fear of death. Meditatio. The Word speaks today and to me. Joy is the badge of the redeemed, of those who have seen the Lord, and who have touched the body of the crucified one, now living and risen. The redeemed have gone from fear, which imprisons them, to the courage of walking through it for a greater love, because they are reached by love within their fear. What fears do I experience because I do not yet dwell in the risen one? What corners of my heart, what spaces of my life and my personal history do I still feel as uninhabited and abandoned, unloved and unlovable? Why not take inventory of them this month? Why not present them to the one who maybe, without me having yet noticed, he is already passing through them? I retrace my life, my history. What has upset me the most in the past? To what or to whom have I allowed to steal my peace? And in the today of my daily life, what prevents me from experiencing profound peace, that peace that the Word can never give me? Who do I hope to receive it from? Where do I look for it? What am I begging for? I am a mandate for the risen one, touched by joy, filled with his peace, indwelt by the Holy Spirit. I can be the protagonist of paths of forgiveness and reconciliation. Am I aware of this? What is holding me back? Yet I am a mission on this earth. Oratio. What makes me say the word? Repair. O God, have mercy on me, a sinner. A thanksgiving. Bless the Lord, my soul. You are so great, Lord, my God. How many are your works, Lord? You have done them all wisely. The heart is full of your creatures. May the glory of the Lord be forever. May the Lord rejoice in his works. To his pleasing be my song. I will rejoice in the Lord. A request of the Spirit. The love of God has been poured into our hearts through the Spirit who has made his dwelling place in us. Come, Father of the poor, come, Giver of gifts, come, Light of hearts, perfect Comforter, sweet Guest of the soul, sweet relief, O most blessed Light, invade the hearts of your faithful in the depths. Comunicatio, the word ignites his joy, the most beautiful word. When Cardinal Jean-Marie Lustiger, Archbishop of Paris, was asked what was the most beautiful French word for him, he, who was a Jew on his mother's side as well as his father's, and who was converted to Christianity, he replied, "For me the most beautiful French word is Hallelujah." Clearly it was a kind of joke, since Hallelujah is not a French word, but Hebrew. This does not mean that the Cardinal was wrong, and that Alleluia is not actually the most beautiful word in any language. Alleluia is the lever that opens up to a new world, putting in check the apparent irreversibility of life, debunking history, inaugurating a bridge that allows us to look at reality through a new lens. Alleluia is the most beautiful of words. To pronounce it is to take responsibility for its meaning. Inseparable from the greatest of the claims of our faith, that there was a man who rose again, a man who was the Son of God, and that event is today the transforming engine of the world. He who was nailed to a cross is alive and redeems our body marked by deficiency, by entrusting us unceasingly to the fullness of God. The joy of gift. Whoever offers himself to God out of love will surely be fruitful. Let us spend ourselves with dedication, but without pretending to see fleshy results. Let us learn to rest in the tenderness of the Father's arms in the midst of our creative and generous dedication. There is no greater freedom than that of letting oneself be led by the Spirit, renouncing to calculate and control everything, and allowing Him to enlighten us, guide us, orient us, push us where He desires. Contemplatio, the word is fulfilled. My fears, my tombs, my darkness are already inhabited by the one who conquered death. Inside the most sealed and apparently impermeable spaces of my heart and my life, of my history and of the world, in the middle the risen one is already standing. And his word offers peace, his peace, and it opens paths of mission, giving trust, breathing the Spirit. I am inhabited, a radiant pebble of Trinity, radioactive of Him who lives in me, although I don't notice it. Peace, joy, the life that does not die, His life already transfigures mine.